Nainam chintanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, nachayanam kledayanti apo, nashoshayati marutaha.
So what is the meaning of this sloka?
So this meaning of the, Sri Krishna tells this one in this verse. It talks about the attributes of soul, like a nature of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So literal meaning is like a soul cannot be influenced by any kind of a materialistic stuff. Like soul cannot be drenched with water, or it cannot be touched with fire, or it cannot be touched with any other kind material like physical elements. So that's because soul is beyond these physical elements.
Okay, then what's the reference to this?
So the reference to this one is Bhagavad Geetha chapter 2 and verse 23.
You said that this sloka deals about soul, right?
Yes.
And we also agreed on that, like soul is like after death, or like while during the it's beyond our understanding, right?
Yes, it's beyond our comprehension, because the Bhagavad Gita talks about, in some verses talks about the soul, and then according to BG, soul is there in our system, and then once we die, soul will be out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then soul will take different forms, like it takes another body or whatever it is. It's a process. It talks about it. They conveniently talk about soul all the time. But since we don't know what is the soul, we cannot take that one as a reference, like a literal meaning. But we know self, right?
Yeah.
So basically, self is an accumulated memory.
Yeah, like if I record this sloka, soul is not destroyed by any physical elements, but we feel the physical elements, like the flow, the air and the heat and those things.
Exactly, because we have a central nervous system.
Yeah.
So that's why we feel all the physical elements, and we have to have physical elements. Otherwise, we cannot grow. We cannot survive.
Yeah.
Because Earth space is based on basically based on the physical elements. So we evolved through that Earth space through these 5-6 elements. So, but here they are also talking about physical element, but they are mainly talking about the soul. Like, but we can apply this thing into our lives. Is like we know the self. We don't know the soul, but we know the self. Self is basically accumulated memory. And self cannot be touched with these physical elements.
But it reminds me something like, you once told me about a Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
Who was, he didn't lift a finger when he was, while he was born
alive, yeah.
Born alive, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because he is, he discovered himself. He discovered the self in him, so that it cannot. If when you discover the self thing, you don't need to respond to these physical elements. And then at one point of time, you cannot be. I mean, your self cannot be touched with these physical elements, and it grow beyond the physical elements. So that's why they cannot reach you, and you don't have any response to this one.
Okay.
But if you are identified as a body and mind, then all the physical elements will influence your body, so that your mind. But if you discover yourself as a self, that is beyond these physical elements. I think that is our comment, right?
So all those physical elements are related to you and your central nervous system, and not your soul, right?
Not yourself.
Okay. Can you tell me what's the difference between self and soul?
Self is accumulated memory, and then you gathered a lot of memory since your childhood, and then one point of time, these huge heaps of memory, you can discover that one as a self.
Okay.
But soul is, according to Bhagavad, because I don't know about soul, I cannot discover my soul. Okay, according to Bhagavad Gita, when you born, the soul enters to your body, and then when you die, soul is out of your body. So Probably it is true, probably it's not true, but we don't know any control over that one. What we know is is a memory, because we can identify two persons as parents, we identify a boy as my child, because all these things is coming from the memory. So if you take off this memory in your brain, you can't even identify your parents.
Okay, according to you, there is like physical appearance, self and soul.
Soul I don't know, but self definitely yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's how I understand the Bhagavad Gita discourse. I mean that's how we can apply this one to our lives.
Okay.
Because everybody knows self. Self is accumulated memory. You know that.
Yeah, but whatever the sloka says about the soul, you can apply the same things to self.
Exactly. It is completely applicable, because the thing is your accumulated memory cannot be touched with the 5 elements. But you have to discover that one.
Okay.
You have to discover yourself first. But if you're identified as a body, if you're identified as a mind, then then you cannot identify as a self. If you identify the body and mind, body definitely is grown out of these 5 elements. So it definitely these elements can influence the body. Once the body is influenced, so it influences the mind.
Yeah.
But soul is beyond this one. Self is beyond this one. Yeah.
So you are saying that not physical, but a mental thing?
No, it's not about mental thing. It's about the total procedure. Yeah. It's not about mental thing. Mental thing is only refers to the mind, but not to the self. So yeah, but it needs a lot of explanation. Self is also a little complicated word, but needs a lot of explanation. But yeah.
We can cut it off here. Yes.
Yes.